What is up, everybody? Welcome to DFS by the Numbers. This is my DraftKings MMA picks video for UFC 315. We have Belal Muhammad going against Jack Della Maddalena, and although there's not a ton of massive fights on this pay-per-view, I'm actually really looking forward to this card from a betting perspective. From a DraftKings perspective, I think there's a lot of great fights to target, a lot of great fighters to target as well. So I'm looking forward to it and looking forward to hopefully having a solid week this week. Before we get into it and break it all down, if you guys could, do me a favor, like the video, subscribe to the channel, leave me a comment. All three of those things go a very long way. If you want to support me more or if you want more content, check out dfsbythenumbers.com. Got betting content, DraftKings content. If you do want to check out the DraftKings, the DFS betting package, you'll get the fighter stats, the targets, projections, ownership projections, rankings, prize picks content, lineup optimizer, DFS article, and just much more. So check it out. And check out dfsbythenumbers.com. And then also check out Prize Picks. Right now, if you go to Prize Picks, use code DFSBTN, you'll get $50 instantly when you play your first $5 lineup. Whether it wins or loses, you'll get $50 instantly into your Prize Picks account. Check it out. Free $50. All right, with all that out of the way, I say we get into it. We're going to start with the fight. Doesn't go to decision lines. We have Benoit Saint-Denis going against Kyle Prepolek. Minus 600 for the fight. Doesn't go to decision here. And this should be a fight that probably shouldn't be sanctioned. I feel like they could have found literally anybody else, but instead they're getting Kyle Prepolek, who is not like the worst fighter in the world. Maybe this guy went 0-2 in the UFC. He has rattled off 4 wins since then. I think he's 4-1 since getting cut, but against like very, very low-level competition. So, yeah, this should be Saint-Denis. If anything, I am paying up at that $9,700 price tag for Saint-Denis this week. And the reason I think you can probably get away with it this week is just due to the fact that there are a ton of underdogs sticking out. I think I'm picking maybe 5 or 6 underdogs outright just this week. So I think that you can get away with going up there and getting some Saint-Denis at $9,700. As far as Kyle Prepolek at $6,500, I will not be touching him. I think he probably gets smoked. Next we have Iwan Kudalaba. Can't talk. Iwan Kudalaba going against Modestas Bukauskas. And this is a Iwan Kudalaba fight, which means that it probably should be targeted. I've never been a big fan of Modestas Bukauskas at all. I know he did really well in his last fight against Rafael Cerqueira, but that guy probably the second worst fighter to ever step foot into the cage, right behind Yazong Hu. But yeah, I like Kudalaba here. I think Kudalaba is the guy just has the upside in general. I think he hits harder. I think he's more durable. I think he has all the wrestling upside as well. We haven't really seen many people take down Modestas, but I feel like that could potentially change here. And Kudalaba's been fighting a lot smarter. He's been coming in there with somewhat of a game plan. Because unlike in the past, he really hasn't. In the past, he's just kind of like a wild man, and he still is. But he's going out there. He's being a lot smarter, which is nice to see with Kudalaba. And he's rattled off 2 wins in a row. Let's see if we can make it 3. But yeah, Kudalaba for me. I don't mind maybe some Bukauskas, but it's hard, man. Like, he's low volume. If this fight goes past the first round, I don't really like Bukauskas that much this week, to be honest. Next we got Mike Malott going against Charles Radtke. The fight doesn't go to decision, minus 200 here. And I'm Mike Malott, 8,900, Charles Radtke, 7,300. These salaries are very interesting now because money's poured in on Charles Radtke. He's currently sitting as a plus 140 underdog. He was plus 215 around there when these salaries did drop on Monday. So I do think Radtke is going to be a very popular dog, and he's going to be a very popular dog for me as well. I do like Radtke quite a bit. I liked him before the odds shifted, and I liked him now after the odds shifted. And then as far as, Mike Malott, 8,900, I think that makes him intriguing as well, because, I think Radtke's going to be a very popular play with all this line movement, and, Mike Malott's a guy that has finished all but one of his wins. I think both of these guys are finishable, and I think somebody does get finished, and I wouldn't be shocked if somebody actually got finished within the first round and a half. I think it's going to be kind of a car crash here in this one. So yeah, for me, I like the Radtke side. It's hard not to, but it's a fight overall. I think it's a solid one to target. And then Sterling Erzlan, minus 200 for the fight, doesn't go to decision. Mostly Sterling for me. The 9K range is really weird this week. Up top we have Benoit Saint-Denis at 9,700, and then there's a massive gap. And then you go to Jasmine Jasudavicius at 9,200. and then Navajo Sterling at 9,100. I think all three, Saint Denis, Jazz Devicious, and Sterling are definitely in play this week. Sterling probably my third favorite there. But yeah, I think Sterling can do well, but the way I'm seeing this fight play out is Sterling kind of, taking his time in there, kind of breaking down Erzlan and eventually finishing him in the second or third. I don't think that he's going to wrestle at all, nothing like that. And I just think that the other, I think Jasmine has more upside. I think Benoit Saint Denis has more upside. So he'd probably be my third favorite. But I still think is a solid play this week. As far as Erzlan, kind of a madman. I mean, I think it could be like an interesting dart throw in a sense that, Sterling's still, pretty unproven in MMA. Erzlan has 18 MMA fights. Erzlan, in theory, might have some grappling advantage if he's able to get the fight down to the ground, and he's 7,100. So I think Erzlan is like a potential pump play. A couple sprinkles on him doesn't hurt there. Getting into the core plays, we got Jazz Devicious, 9,200. Probably my favorite play on the card, all things considered. Favorite play on the card here. I think it's a really bad matchup for Jessica Andrade. Andrade has, first of all, she's going to be undersized. She's going to be very undersized here. She's going to be at a 6-inch height disadvantage, a 6-inch reach disadvantage. And then we've seen that Andrade, she is a black belt, but when she's on her back, she's a white belt. I mean, it's very bad. Like we've seen multiple fighters, get on top and TKO her, or we find the submission, and Jasmine can do either or. Jasmine has a really good ground and pound. Jasmine has a sneaky submission game, sneaky front chokes, and Andrade has been finished 9 times in her career, 8 times in the UFC. So, yeah, I think Jasmine's not only live to go out there and win, I think she's live to go out there and dominate, put up a massive score, and I love her at 9,200. Marc-Andre Barriault, 8,400. Yeah, this is a sketchy fight, but sketchy fights are the best fight to target on DraftKings, right? Like, this is a great fight to target because on one hand, you got Marc-Andre Barriault, who, doesn't really have a chin, and then on the other hand, you have Bruno Silva, who doesn't really want to be there. But I think Barriault is the better fighter. I mean, this guy Silva, 1-7 in his last 8 fights, looks completely uninterested, looks completely washed. Could Bruno Silva land a big shot in the first round and knock out Barriault? Absolutely, and that's why we'll have some on both sides. But Barriault, I love the volume, better cardio, just more willingness to want to fight, and that's important. So I like Barriault here, and I think he potentially breaks Silva as the fight goes on, or wins a decision, mixing in some volume, potentially mixing in some takedowns, and puts up a solid score there. And then Imon Cutelaba, we talked about a little bit, 8,200. I like him here. I think it's a solid spot for him. I know it's hard to trust Imon Cutelaba, but I like the wrestling upside. The cardio's been looking better. And like I said, he's been coming in there with more of a game plan, which is something you'd like to see from Cutelaba there. So I like Cutelaba, and he's one of those guys that definitely hit or miss, one of those guys that are definitely boom or bust, but I'm looking for that boom upside. And then we got Belal Muhammad, 8,700. I know, Jack Della is a very popular dog this week, but for me, it's hard to ignore Belal, just due to the fact that he has so much upside with the wrestling, the takedowns. I mean, we saw Gilbert Burns take down Jack Della 8 times. We saw Basil Hafez take down Jack Della, multiple times, and make that fight competitive. So, yeah, I think Belal Muhammad, if he wants to go for takedowns, and he should want to go for takedowns, he will get those takedowns, and over the course of 25 minutes, I think all the volume, the takedowns, the control time, the strike, it'll all add up, and I think in a win, Belal Muhammad has one of the highest ceilings on the slate in a win if he does not get knocked out and if he fights smart. So I like Belal Muhammad quite a bit at 8,700. It is weird seeing Belal not as an underdog. I think he's been the underdog his last 5-6 fights, maybe more. But, with the amount of upside he has, I'm fine with going out there and, paying 8,700 for him this week. Next, we got the GPP plays here. Yeah, you could throw Benoit up there. Benoit's a GPP play this week for me. If you can fit him in cash, I think Benoit's solid, but you don't need me to tell you that. He's 9,700. Navajo Sterling, though, 9,100. Yeah, I think you are getting a $600 savings off of Benoit Saint Denis, and I like him in this matchup. I think Sterling's actually pretty good. I think if he can put it all together, this guy can be a problem in the division. Not saying he's going to be a champ or nothing like that, but I think he can, do decent against some of these, especially some of these guys like Ivan Erzlan, right? As long as that take the defense keeps holding up, and it looks okay in the Tokus fight, didn't look completely awful, and we know these city kickboxing guys, their takedown defense seems to always pretty much be on point. And then, to be honest, I don't really think that's going to be too much of a factor here because Arslan doesn't really wrestle. So I think he's going to get the fight he wants, and just Sterling's much simply the better striker. So I like Sterling here, and I think he knocks out Arslan. Could be round 1, could be round 2, could be round 3. I do lean 2-3, but could be round 1. Could be round 1. So yeah, I like Sterling as a potential tournament play. Mike Malott, 8,900. Great fight to target. There's not a ton of fights I expect to finish on this card, and I'm pretty confident in finishing, but this is one of them. I know Mike Malott went to a decision in his last fight, but a lot of that had to do with Officer Trevin Giles just being content to lose but not get knocked out. He did the whole fight to not get finished type thing, and that's not Charles Racky. Racky's going to come forward, and Racky's going to make you fight, and I think somebody's going to get finished. And we've seen Racky knocked out twice before, and Mike Malott has power. Mike Malott does have a very solid, very dangerous submission game. So yeah, there are a lot of avenues for this fight to finish. There are some avenues for Mike Malott. So 8,900. I think his ownership is probably going to still be some ownership on him, right? But I think it's going to plummet a little bit, with this line movement. And I do expect the Racky money line to actually keep coming in. So we might get Mike Malott at a little bit of a discount in terms of that ownership. So for that reason, he's absolutely in play. Although I do like the Racky side a little bit more. Manon Fiorot, 8,500. Yes, solid co-main event to target. 25 minutes to work with. My preferred play, and we'll talk about her in a little bit, is actually Shevchenko, and we'll talk about why. But yeah, Fiorot, if she's winning this fight, it means that Shevchenko was not able to get the takedown. She was not able to track her down, and this was a fight that took place on the feet for 25 minutes. And if it does, Fiorot has very good volume, landing 6 significant strikes per minute. And those strikes, over the course of 25 minutes, they are going to add up. We could even see Manon maybe mixing a takedown or two. She's done that a lot in her career, just mixing in some takedowns here or there. She's very physically strong. She's massive for the division. So yeah, I think Manon in a win, she scores good. I don't think she's going to score 1,000,000 points, nothing like that. I don't think she has a massive ceiling, but in a win, I do think she scores good, and she absolutely would pay off that $8,500 price tag in a 5-round fight. And then Jung Young Lee, 7,900. This is another line that has moved quite a bit. Jung Young Lee was, I think, plus 140, plus 125 when the salaries dropped, and now Jung Young Lee is actually the favorite. So, yeah, for that reason, I do have some interest, and I do have some interest because Daniel Santos is coming in here on short notice, up a weight class, and I do want to see Daniel Santos show up here. Daniel Santos has not showed up to a fight in like 2 years. But if he does, I think there are some reasons to like Jung Young Lee here, the bigger fighter. And I just think he's the better fighter. Daniel Santos, 37% striking accuracy, 50% striking defense, can't really land much, very hittable. He's a typical shoot-to-box guy, right? But he has that dog in him. But yeah, I like Jung Young Lee here as a dog. Moving on to the live dogs, got some more dogs here. There's a ton of live dogs, so I had to throw one on the GPP Plays page there. We got Bruno Silva, 7,800. I think he's washed. I think he's done, but we can say the same thing about Marc-Andre Barriault. And his win condition is literally a first-round knockout. Marc-Andre Barriault, his last 2 losses, first-round knockout losses. Bruno Silva, I think, has about 5 minutes in him, and that's probably it. So yeah, Bruno Silva, he's a live dog, and he's live to, if he wins, he's going to score very well, so he should not be ignored this week. Valentina Shevchenko, 7,700. I like Valentina quite a bit here. I mean, it's weird getting this great of a price tag on Valentina, and the only time she has been priced as an underdog, she's won all 3 of those times, so it's like 7,700. We're getting an $800 savings off of Fiorot, and not only that, we're getting the fighter that has all the grappling upside. Like we saw what she went out there and did to Grasso, and I know it's going to be much harder to take down Fiorot than it was to take down Grasso, but if Shevchenko's winning this fight, if she's able to track down Fiorot, if she's able to take her down, if she's winning this fight, like Shevchenko has one of the highest ceilings on the slate, so at 7,700, I'm willing to take some shots here. I think it's a very close fight. I think it really all comes down to whether or not Shevchenko can get that wrestling going. And if she can, that $7,700 price tag is going to look like an absolute steal. Next, we got Jack Della Maddalena, 7,500. So I like the Bilal side, but yeah, I mean, Jack, landing almost 7 significant strikes per minute. Bilal's going out there talking about how he's not going to attempt a single takedown. If that's true, if Bilal does not attempt a single takedown, which I think is a complete lie, but if Bilal's being serious and being honest about it, I mean, Jack at 7,500 is going to be the steal of the century, right? I mean, Jack's boxing's incredible, ton of power, ton of volume. So I guess it just comes down to whether or not Bilal fights smart or not. So yeah, I like Bilal, but 7,500 for Jack Della. I think he's going to be popular, but probably for a good reason. I think both the main and the co-main event, great fights to target this week. And then Bracketona, 7,600. Yeah, Bracketona definitely going to be unpopular because he's Bracketona, but yeah, I think it's a close fight. This line's came in a little bit as well. Bracketona also has solid volume on the feet, landing almost 5 significant strikes per minute, and then Bracketona also can mix in some takedowns here or there as well. So I don't mind some Katona. 7,600, pretty solid price tag there. And then the pump plays, we got Charles Racky, 7,300. A lot of reasons to like him. I'll be playing a fair share of Charles Racky this week. Love the price tag. Love the upside, the finishing upside. And just, yeah, very cheap, very good play. And then Ayman Zahabi, 7,200. I think he's a very live dog. I think he's very live, and it's going to be a close fight. I think these salaries are off. The only thing I'll say is I just think the ceiling is very low for Zahabi. Like, if Zahabi's winning this fight, it's probably like a 72 to 75 point win, around there, and maybe that's enough on this slate. We'll have to see how it all shakes out. But yeah, I think Zahabi's live to win. I just don't think he's alive to score like 100 plus. I don't think he's knocking out Jose Aldo. I don't think he's going to go out there and put on some volume masterclass. But if he wins, I think it's a close fight that doesn't score all that well. And then the fades, we got 2 here. Jose Aldo, 9,000. This price tag makes 0 sense to me. I think it's a close fight. I think this fight can go either way. I don't think he's knocking out Zahabi. He's definitely not wrestling Zahabi. Easy fade for Jose Aldo. There's so many more better plays. And then Natalia Silva, 8,800. I don't think she's finishing a fighter as tough as Grasso. I don't think she needs to even take down Grasso. If she wants to, she can. I don't think she needs to take down Grasso. I kind of see Silva, staying on the outside and outpointing Grasso over the course of 15 minutes, and that's not going to really score well, especially on a slate like this where there's a ton of great options. And there you guys have it. Thank you so much for watching. If you guys could, like on your way out, subscribe. Be sure to check out DFS by the numbers. My DraftKings article just got posted there. Lineup optimizer, all the stats you guys need, projections, ownership projections, just a ton of content. Be sure to check it out at dfsbythenumbers.com. And best of luck for UFC 315, and we'll talk to you soon. See ya.